Continuation of our bi-monthly meeting in November because we had some unfinished business and we weren't all there. We will be meeting again in January for our regular every other month meeting. My apologies to begin with for inundating you with emails that we're attempting to send minutes. I still have my problems, so thank you for bearing with me and taking it in the text in an email. I will have the minutes from tonight and add them, and we'll get them both to you for approval, to vote on approval in January. The only agenda item that we have tonight will be what we see as our role and how we see the responsibilities within there and what are the ones we want to take on. But before that, Tim, you had, if you'd give us a little, you had some tree activity this past week. And if you just bring everyone up to speed on what you do in your role and what is done for the trees in the city, because I think it's a little bit unclear. We have a tree board and we're very blessed to have a tree board that is supplemental to a position in the city that does a lot of what other cities don't have and rely on tree boards for. So you could just give us a view of that with sound.
Right now.
Can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Basically, I am the city liaison to the tree board, but I handle all of the work with Tree City USA application, the Arbor Day, help schedule with the Arbor Day part of that, as well as looking after the city's trees, trimming the trees, maintenance of trees, planting trees, trying to find places that we can plant new trees within the city's right of way. That's pretty much what I do. That's the tree part of it. I mean, I do a lot more, but that's what I do for the tree part.
And what Tim was saying, within the city's right of way, there are instances where Graham still steps in and takes care of itself, even if it may not be a city problem. Right, Tim?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, for example, the tree in front of the Methodist church fell, and the city took action right away, but that's a DOT problem because it fell on a DOT street.
Yeah, basically we just blocked the road until DOT got there to handle it. And DOT cut the tree up and got it up the next morning, pushed it out of the road for the night and got it up the next day.
Great. And that is something where the city had been telling people that tree really should have come down earlier. And that's part of what we do, is keep our eyes and ears open. So we'll come to that in a minute. Are there any questions for Tim about what he does before we go on? Either everybody's muted or there was nothing. Okay. I hope you all had a chance to look at the email and at what was in there. Because Jada, you and Stephanie were not here at the last meeting, what we were looking at was, because of the uniqueness of our tree board, that we are a Tree City USA, you have to have a tree board, and we're here. But we are lucky we don't have to fulfill roles that the other tree boards do in other cities. And Tim does that for us, which has left us completely open to describe how we can be the best asset to the city and the best value to the residents of Graham. And that's what we talked about, amongst other things, and we're going to finish up talking about tonight, is that we have the opportunity to define ourselves, which is pretty rare in something like this. And we really, it's a unique opportunity. And the thing we talked about last week and we've talked about before was honing in on educating the citizens of Graham and about our trees, and a vast array of information, because there is the information out there, and being a conduit to get it to the city, and also to find out and get interest in the city and our trees, and to find out what we need to do for the citizens. As you saw on the minutes, we had looked at 4 areas. And are there any questions on those areas, or any questions on what I sent you? I tried to, Christine took great notes. They were almost verbatim. So I had to kind of build it into, divide it for those of you who weren't here to see what we were doing. Are there any questions on the 4 things we defined there? Everybody get to read them? Okay. Okay. Looking at these 4 things, they're pretty heavy duty. And I think for us to take this on that much right out of the bat, particularly because we have a unique situation where nothing we can do can really be do for the city is going to be visible or addressed until after COVID is over. There'll be no large gatherings to have a booth at to put out information. So we have a unique time that we can really problem solve this and decide how we're going to do this. We have handling of the resources, and that means there's so much information out there. We can't put it all out, but we need to pick and curate what we put out. The second thing is the educational outreach. How do we get information to people? The event coordination, which will build up to when we get to events, and project management when there's something big happening and we want to have someone be lead on it. But the other thing that's in here that we really didn't address is the fact that the city has social media. And as you've seen, if you're following Instagram or Facebook, the city, both the Parks and Rec is very visible on there, and the museum is. Museum is part of Parks and Rec. We are part of Public Works. Is there anyone in Public Works, Tim, who does this, who posts things for you, or how do you do that within Public Works?
Through Mary, through City Hall. We get Mary or Nathan or somebody at City Hall the information that we need published or we need posted, and they put it on.
Okay.
Mainly garbage, our garbage and sanitation and leaf collection and all that stuff. So it's out there, reminding people when there's changes in the schedule.
Can any of you, what do you all think were things we could put on the on Facebook post for the city about trees or for trees or anything?
Bad trees. Bad crepe myrtles is the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wanted to share was I did think that using social media is a really good tool, because I know that the one in Burlington, they're doing it through the, I think, Facebook Burlington page, because they said that they can't really get their own page to begin with because it has to go through government or something like that. So I know we just opened up Mystic Roots, which is a plant company. And so I know I can get people to talk about at least like the tree board and like get them informed. And I've talked a little bit about it, but they don't really know who we are. So I know I can help in that aspect, sharing the word. And then my partner, Roger Moore, he's in Burlington's tree board. So I know it helps bouncing off of each other. And he gives me ideas of what kind of like they're doing. And that's why I did want to mention that social media is crucial right now, because I feel like everybody's on there more than ever right now.
That's cool. I like getting depth, getting double depth out of a member. Um, we have to be careful not to, um, with the private company, there's nothing we can do with that. But I think that you would be very tuned into knowing what it was people um, need to learn about and how that might work. Would you like to take lead on that for us? Just some ideas
On
for January?
managing like the social media aspect of it.
Well, we have to go through the city as you
Okay.
see. But come up maybe in January, let us know what are the things we might be able to do? Do we want to have a highlight a tree of the week? Do we want to do something for kids? Do we want to best practices for this time of year? Winters, when people plant trees, what kind of trees do they want? There's all sorts of things we could do.
Right.
And it wouldn't be that you have to create what we're going to post. It's more
Kind of
manage.
being informative about it.
Yeah.
I think I could do something like that. I do all my graphics for my business, and I like creating stuff like that. So I can like maybe put pictures together of different trees and what are natives, and then put a little bit like information about them. We can share that and showcase like certain weeks, and we can bounce off ideas off of that. I think just people want to see more than hearing or just us giving pamphlets out. I feel like right now they're also being at home, and so they're constantly on social media and stuff like that. And Burlington does a good job on it, I think. Graham, I think, is lacking in like the social media area, where I feel like they can get certain aspects across too.
Okay. Well,
I think it'll help.
that's great. Yeah, Bonnie used to work for Burlington and with Jeff and the tree board over there.
Jan, may I say something?
Yep.
Right now we have our city's Christmas tree lit. It would be an excellent time to use. It'd be an easy project for her to do the history of that tree and a little bit about that species.
Yeah. So the history behind it.
Tim can enlighten you on the history of it. We got it from Burlington. They were going to cut it down,
Oh,
and we saved
Really?
the tree. Yeah. The agricultural department. That's where it came.
It came from over at the Agriculture Extension Office on Graham Hopedale Road.
Oh wow.
It was it's almost doubled in size. It's been there.
Was
It's
it part-
probably, what, 7 or 8 years ago we moved that tree.
Yep.
And they were going to cut it down.
oh,
Was
But
it?
then
Great.
they reached out to us. Mark Danley was the extension chairman at the time, and he reached out to us, and we went and looked at it, and we decided that we wanted it, so we hired a truck with a big tree spade, and we went over there to that site and spaded that tree out and brought it and planted it in right in front of City Hall. So and it's done well.
That's a good story of saving a tree.
Right.
Out of
Yeah.
curiosity, did it come out of the Arbor Gate garden?
Yes.
Well, guess what? Who designed that garden? Bonnie.
There you go.
a
So
long time ago.
yeah, but a tree you designed in there, then eventually traveled over here.
Right. Now it's in Graham.
That's a cool story.
Yeah, I remember the first year, Tim and them put lights on the tree and they draped them straight down all the way to the ground. And then they tried to use the same lights the next year and they were 4 foot short.
Yeah, they were short. So it's definitely grown a bunch. I think we had to buy lights every year.
Out of curiosity, how tall will it get?
I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Bonnie?
I don't even know what species it is.
It's some kind of fir. I don't know. I don't remember if that's a Norwegian. I don't remember what kind of fir it is, but it's some
Yeah,
kind of fir.
sometimes they don't like the heat here, so.
Well, this one's awful pampered, Bonnie. They go by there and paint everyone how they pet it. So it's the most pampered tree, at least in Graham, probably in the county.
So it'd be a good story about how somebody thought it was a Charlie Brown tree, but Graham made it drive.
Right.
That would be a great
Right.
story for this first time, for this first month. If you can get it done in, I don't know, December's running out. I don't know if you can get it done now, but it would be a great story.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go out there and see if I can take a photograph a really nice picture out of it to go with it so that it's something that's as of right now, and then just put a story behind it. I mean beside it or something like that.
Okay.
But
But
that would be a great way to introduce the tree board on social media.
Mhm.
right.
And
I like that idea.
maybe planning to do it right at the end of Christmas, because a lot of people are putting up tons of stuff right now that's going on, but maybe with the new year.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
So Tim, who would know what species? Would Mark Denley know?
I probably would. And it may be a Fraser fir. I can't remember. It's been too long ago.
Is it a Fraser?
It may be a Fraser fir.
Well, if you designed a garden and it went into the garden,
It wasn't part of the original plan though. That
Oh,
was
okay.
Well, and it may not have been in the garden itself. It was when you come from the parking lot going into their building, it was to the left,
Oh, I remember that. So
to the
Rhett
left of the
Davis would know.
door.
Yeah, Rhett Davis, and I'm sure Mark would know. Yeah, that was a pretty prominent tree by the
Yeah.
front door.
It
Okay.
was.
Well, Stephanie, if you want me to call around and find out
Yes, please. That would help.
I can do that.
Okay, sounds good. And you can just email me.
Yep.
Okay.
That's great. Well, for temporarily till we get through January and you're sure you want to stick with it, if you'd like to be our social media coordinator.
Ooh, I would like to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Hey, Jan and Stephanie, I had an idea. This is more towards the spring and summer probably, but just so that I don't forget it. I'd love to have something about mosquitoes. Like I think we talked about this before, but things that you can plant that will, keep the mosquitoes away, because they're really horrible in a lot of areas of Graham. We couldn't use our backyard for a
Yeah,
lot of
there's
summers.
different plants too, even house plants that are good for that too, that I would be able to share.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Yes.
Maybe. All we need is 12 ideas a year.
Right.
And crepe myrtle, non-murdering crepes will be.
Craig Murder could definitely be one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Tim, when does it happen most often? What time of the year?
Looks like to me it started early this year.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing them 4 foot high, freshly cut.
Mhm.
A little early. I wouldn't cut them till spring, but I wouldn't cut them period. But I don't think you should cut them until spring.
Yeah, we could do one where we explain what crepe murder is, and another one where we give information and everything to learn how to do it right. And I know though the extension office at where the tree came from, they do a lot of classes in the summer. They call it Green Thumb Thursdays, where you just sign up and you can go and they'll teach you how to prune something or other things. And we could be a good conduit for putting out that information too. Any other ideas for what you like to see during a month?
Gift ideas for trees. I was talking to my son actually, and wanted to get him a tree for his front yard,
Mhm.
and wanted to know what kind of tree would grow well down there. Newbern didn't have a tree board, but then I talked to Parks and Recreation, and they said, well, I don't know what kind of tree to recommend. So, but they told me where different trees were in the city that I could go look at. So, a lot of people like to give a plant or a tree or whatever. So, that would be a good way to start in the explanation of a low canopy, a high canopy, an undergrowth tree, or whatever, to realize what they've got.
How to consider and select a tree for a residence.
Yep.
And the considerations, like where is it going?
Yeah.
That's
Under the
good.
power line, you don't want to put an oak tree.
Yep.
So maybe we could have a standing category of what to plant where.
Mhm.
standing topic. Maybe we'll have, I mean, could you see multiple kind of recurring themes that we address every
Sure.
month?
I
You
mean,
know,
it
like
costs nothing to
3 of
post,
the
right?
month.
I was saying it costs nothing to post. So,
Right. So,
you know,
Yeah, we can definitely be informative and continue pushing this out of just flyers here and there to catch their attention too, and then see who's doing what, and again introducing ourselves. I think that's a really good idea, writing all these topics down.
and there'll be opportunities about different trees. I mean, for example, Judy, where Judy lives, and at the last meeting we discussed it, the developer put in a tree called a river birch, which is very popular with developers because it grows fast, but it grows too big and then becomes brittle and everything else. Well, we're going to have a lot of developments in town where we're not going to be getting a landscaping plan because there'll be individual homes, and those homeowners are going to want to know, what do I put in here? And, you know, how to avoid 20 years down the road having to pay $2,000 to a tree removal service.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's something we can look into. There's a lot of information on those sites, and I'll send around a list of the sites again. The NCSU's urban forestry program. There's certain Auburn, Missouri, various universities are very, very strong horticultural programs for trees. And you can always look up a plant there. And I think, you know, we can just build a library if we all, as we find stuff, just add to it. That might be an idea.
What they do is they do these contractors, and whoever's at the lowest bid gets it. And they may know very little about a species, and they got a tractor, they got some men to dig a hole.
Yep.
And they do a little bit of grading, and then they go to, the nursery, and they pick out things that looks big, to give it a little bit of presence, and never mind that they're woody things. And that's what happened in here. So working with the developers would be good, because you could get in contact with their subcontractors and maybe talk to them about what they're wanting to put in and what should they put in as far as trees are concerned.
We do talk to the developers who have to have a landscaping plan at the technical review, which Tim does.
Okay.
But when we get a development that is going to be individual houses and they don't have a landscaping plan, do they, Tim?
No. No, most of the time you only see our landscaping requirements are for commercial properties. We don't, for instance, the new housing developments that are going in now, we don't have a landscape ordinance for residential for such.
So
Is there a reason for that? I mean, is that just like a crazy thing that the city can't have an ordinance in place for that kind of stuff? It seems like it would be pertinent to do when you guys are having to then go back through some of these communities and fix things that were done incorrectly.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
well, certainly if you're going to be, when a development is sold, it's sold, when it's, say, lots are sold, it's individual builders that come in, isn't it?
Well, most of these subdivisions that are going in now, one builder comes in and buys the whole tract, and they build every house in there.
Could we have guidelines, if nothing else, for a builder like that, of what are the trees for this city that we recommend, or the native plantings or anything like that? I mean, short of it being an ordinance requiring, is there a way to have guidelines?
Well, and of course, any tree there is going to be planted on private property. So no, the city really doesn't have anything to do with it, because it's going to be back behind the sidewalk or the curb. Once you get out of the right of way, it's out of the city's hands.
I don't mean for the city to maintain or anything. I'm just thinking as almost a service to the new homeowner when they get here, through the builder when they want to build here, to say, you know, we're glad to have you here. You know, we have a canopy we maintain in the city, and, you know, give them all the Falderall reasons we need certain trees, and then give them a recommendation and have a list of trees that we found troublesome because they outgrow the location. I mean, it may just save the homeowners some problems, because the houses are built on spec, aren't they?
Yes.
What do you think, Jerry?
I think I would reach out to other communities about our size and see if anybody is doing something. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You reach out and see if they have a tree ordinance having to do with subdivisions. Because it's an excellent idea. If you look at the old fields right now, we're having to take out pin oaks that were put in a 3-foot portion of the road that belonged to someone else. It wasn't ours. But we're having to take them out because it's raising the sidewalk and stuff like that. And Ms. Hall's neighborhood is the same way. You know, they planted trees that shouldn't have been planted that close to the house. But as I say, I wouldn't try to reinvent something. I would go see what everybody else is doing. And everything is public information. All you got to do is ask them, and they'll show you where to get that information. Go to Chapel Hill would be the very height of what you want to go to, and somewhere like Hillsborough might get you the historical end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where you can only plant certain trees because it's historically proper. I'm trying to think of somebody else. I tell you what, call up and ask Nathan for cities our size and ask for that information, and he could probably get it for you.
Okay.
And if nothing else, we can have a suggested planning for the homeowners association.
Exactly.
Yes.
You could have paperwork, you know, suggested plannings, you know, what you can and what you should and shouldn't do, instead of put it as a demand.
Sure.
Yeah, because as Tim said, it's on their private property. Once they buy it, they could easily go out there and cut the thing down the day that they, you know, unless it was protected by a homeowner association or something like that.
Yeah, but you don't want to put I love a weeping willow tree, so I'm gonna put one right beside the house.
Yeah, that's the move. That's the move to do.
Yeah.
My son lives in a place that has a homeowners association. They require a tree in the front yard of some sort, and then they give you a list of different. That's Mesa, Arizona. They give you a list of what you can and can't plant. The most interesting street in Graham is probably Gates Avenue. There's a different tree in every lot, and that's a 50-year-old neighborhood.
Where's Gates Avenue?
You can't get there from your house.
I thought I'd driven around a lot and seen a lot of cities.
Do you know where Wayne Brewer lives?
Who's Wayne Brewer?
That didn't help.
Block over from West Gilbert.
Yeah, so right off of Gilbert Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a dead end cul-de-sac street, but it's interesting that I'm sorry, I think it's 2 houses have a certain type of tree, and the next 2 houses has a certain type of tree like that.
And CBS, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll walk down that street.
Well, next time look at the trees.
I will pay attention to them.
Okay. Some of them probably been taken out, but at one time, every 2 houses I think had the same kind of tree, and they were all different all the way down the street.
Well, it's for you guys who are new to the city. I mean, I'm on Pine Street, and when my parents bought this property, they wouldn't have to mow the lawn because there were 74 pine trees on this property. And then the pine borer came along, and now I'm mowing the lawn. But and that's something else, one of the other stories we can tell. There's a lot more about Pine Street because it was a WPA project to plant the pine trees, and there was a WPA camp in this area, wasn't there, Jerry?
Yes, and Johnson Heights was that site. We took out, 25 trees at the Civic Center site, 25 pine trees that the borers got into. So yeah, I still got 10 or so out behind my house that are 150 foot tall. They are monster pine trees. They won't quite reach my house, but they will reach the next door neighbors.
Well, Will Woodard took his big one down because it was raising the ground at the base, but I said, please cut a full slice of that off for the tree board to have to teach the kids the age of trees, because we can show them this tree was in Graham and this is when it was planted and all. So it's a good story. You know,
It is.
during the Depression, to find jobs for men, they brought them to a camp.
Yeah, if y'all know where I live, this was my house was the first house built here in
Mhm.
1956. Is that right, Jan?
Yes.
My wife's in here, 1956. And the reason it was the son-in-law of Dr. Johnson, who lived in the big stone house on 54. And he was the son-in-law, was the Mr. Hooker. And he built this house. And half the woodwork that you see behind me here is walnut. And it was from a tree that was milled right here on the property. So
I was okay, then that's the house I remember my father and my uncle walking me over to. They were watching when it was being built to look it all over.
did you see the elephant? There was an elephant that moved the wood around the property.
You're kidding.
There used to be a lake down here in the bottom, and
There are 2 lakes.
well, they were, but Mr. Hooker owned those lakes, and they made a deal with the circus. They could water the elephants down here if they would come up here and move the wood around in the property where Mr. Hooker needed to be moved. And he gave me pictures of that when the elephant.
That brings up an interesting thing, Jerry, that maybe we could have a history corner. And from time to time, if somebody has a story like the elephant is a great story.
Well, Bonnie, that'd be great. You know, you could right there at the corner of Maple and Elm, there's a big pin oak. If you could figure out the age of that pin oak, then you could figure out who was the president and what was happening at that time.
Well, or would you feel moved to contribute some of these interesting stories that maybe Eric is the only other one who knows about them, but it'd be fun to read about the elephant.
Yeah, well, it's like Eric's house. Eric's house, there's
Yeah.
a pin out back behind his house that had a double seater John in it. The outhouse was out there with 2 seats. I mean, that was the height.
Yeah, but it had plumbing.
It did.
We had our own sewer line. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We could have our own laugh line corner.
Do you remember the horse that fell through the ice in that pond?
I don't.
The rescue squad had to come down and pull the horse out of the pond because it fell through in ice.
I have a funny feeling that if anyone is watching this Zoom meeting after we're done.
Yeah, they'll be laughing at us. When I worked at the fire department, we had a bull that fell in a swimming pool.
Oh my
And-
gosh.
Yeah. And the insurance man came down there while we were getting the bull out. And what we had to do is dig the pool away from and walk the bull out. And the insurance man wouldn't pay for the pool. He said he would pay for the cover that was on the pool, because the bull fell in the cover and tore it up. But he said when that bull got into the swimming pool, he was swimming. So he wouldn't pay for the pool.
Okay.
So Stephanie, maybe you can think of how this might work into our social media page.
I
Yeah,
was
there's-
thinking that maybe we can even kind of showcase who we are with telling each a story of something like this. Like you could share
Right.
the elephant story and everybody has something to contribute. That'd be really
Right.
cool too. And then that way we're also presenting who we are, and
Yeah.
That's
that'd be really cool
yeah.
too.
The elephant story is interesting because it was moving walnut trees around to.
Yeah.
So
That's what they were doing. They were moving the trees around to mill them here so he could build the house.
I was also interested to learn when you told the story about when the surveyor came and you guys had to all go around and mark each tree and measure it and everything.
The inventory. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Inventory.
that's good history of Graham as well. That really showcases what the tree board does.
which I can't
Mhm.
believe that they went out and did. That just sounds
Spent
funny.
days walking around.
They sure did.
It was summer and hot, but it was really interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, these are great. I mean, this is what it's all about, is just loving trees, knowing that every tree has a story and that it's part of our environment that changes. We can affect it, it affects us, and how to take care of that environment. I mean, that's really what the tree board is about. It's about maintaining the legacy that trees are in the community that they're in and getting the word out.
Getting people to care. I think that's also what it is. Like,
Mhm.
you know, getting their interest in why this is important.
Well, Stephanie's going to be our kind of liaison on online. Would anyone like to it doesn't fall in any category we talked about, but what the heck, I think it's just, you know, we were just talking about those categories. Would anyone like to work together on sort of compiling what we can find and getting ideas so that we can research them? And the other one is I'll get a list of towns from Nathan. And would anyone like to join me in looking at their ordinances online and seeing if they have such tree ordinance for homeowning?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, we'll take that on. And how about story compiling?
I think we all do that.
We'll do that? Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
like maybe write yourself, like write something, or like put in details of what you would like to share. Or I could we could do a Zoom meeting too, and then I can hear you guys out and, you know, write it down and then
Okay.
put that in a story. Could be another possibility.
I think what.
Maybe we can work.
Go ahead.
Did
Go
I
ahead.
cut somebody off? I'm sorry. Maybe we can work on next month or next time a calendar of events, just so that we can plan out the year to say, like, this is what we're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be planning for the, you know, for the 12 months. If we want to do 2 things a month or 1 thing a month, that way there's lots of time for each of us to research. If Stephanie can lead that operation and then sort of dictate out who researches what.
Mhm. And also find when being very optimistic, Jerry, when do you think the city will get rolling again with events?
As
12
soon as
months.
they get a some sort of cure for this thing or a prevention type thing, if they get if it works out the way that they're going right now and everybody starts getting inoculated, I think the thing will probably break loose again in the springtime. I think we will come back a little bit in the springtime. You might have to show that you have been you've had the shots to be able to get into somewhere, but I think that's going to be the only time that this is going to go away for us. That's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. Barely got out of high school, but you know, it's but I think that's when it's going to be.
I resemble that remark.
I know you do. Eric graduated from high school barely. Well, now, Eric, you were in the National Honor Society. I was.
No, I wasn't either. No, I wasn't.
You weren't.
No,
I figured you
That was
were.
another brother.
no, that wasn't anybody in our house.
Now
Hey,
I'm-
Jan,
There are some good stories out there about trees, and just like our leaf pickup right now. You know what happens to that leaf once Tim picks it up? He doesn't personally pick them up, but you know what happens to them, and what happens to the leaves once they get composted. Because we try to give a big percent. Tim can tell you, we give a big percentage away to people that want it, and you probably didn't even know that you could go down there and get leaf mulch. Some cities sells that leaf mulch to China, and they carry it to Japan, and they can't get oak leaf mulch in Japan and those nations because there's not room for the tree. You know, there's too many people, not enough room for the tree. So there's boatloads of leaf mulch that goes over to those countries that you can go get down and get for free down at our farm down in Swepsonville. Tim, do you want to add to that, or you want to keep them out of the farm?
Well, I mean, we could do that. We could do some pictures. You know, I'll try to take some pictures as we're collecting and as we dump and as we pile and as it composts and we move it, you know, we have to move it a couple different times for it to compost. It has to heat up to a certain temperature and stay there for a certain number of days. And that supposedly kills the weed seeds, any weeds or stuff that are in it. And that's part of the that's something that we have to do. And we have to, I have to record that when it gets, I have to put thermometers in the file and record when it gets up to 132 degrees for 3 consecutive days. So, you know, we have to fill out a report and send it to Raleigh, to Department of Environmental Resources, and they come and inspect our site once a year. So it's more to it than just sucking up leaves and going to dump them somewhere.
Well, I used to dump them down at my daddy's place, and then Sarah Ryan saw that Daddy was getting good dirt from them, so she wanted the city to do it.
Yeah.
So they dumped them down at Dad's place for years. And we were composting leaves and piling them up.
Yeah, they sure did.
It's really a good product. If we had a screener, and we've talked about this, and some of these things are in our budget, you know, a few years out, but it's a very sellable product. When after it's composted, I mean, we use it all the time. We use it on different places where we're planting grass or, you know, planting trees or whatever to enrich the soil. It's a very good product, but it just needs to be screened. It's got a lot of trash in it. We're plastic bottles and paper and plastic bags and stuff that get sucked up while we're collecting the leaves.
Yeah. Well, I think people don't realize that they really should separate when they put out their sticks and their debris from when they put out their leaves. You know,
Yeah,
Well-
that's where you take that, you know, make sure you just put leaves in there and not the pine cones and stuff. But it is a product that is useful, and people just don't realize what goes on down at our farm. That's where we put our biosolids. People come from all over the state to see what we're doing with our biosolids, because everybody else is putting it, that biosolids is our waste from the wastewater treatment plant.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is, you see the Centigrade trucks running around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happens in Graham. We don't carry it down and put it in front of an elementary school or something like that, or a farmer gets it and grows stuff with it. We have 100 and some acre farm down there that we use to put our biosolids on, that is contained for us. Tim again can elaborate on that. So we run a shuttle between our wastewater treatment plant and our own land, and we put the biosolids on there where it won't hurt anybody. I think Burlington tries to hire a farmer and use his field as long as he can, but so we maintain it. So people come all over the place to see what we're doing with that. Tim, do you want to add anything to that?
Not really. I mean, it's the biosolids are applied on grass fields, and the grass. We have a contract with somebody that comes in and cuts the hay. The grass is grown for hay, and they come in and cut the hay 2 or 3 times a year. So, and that's a requirement of the state. You have to take you have to keep it mowed and maintained, and keep some of the weeds out, and you have to keep up with the amount of what I want to say, the soil, the amount of lime and fertilizer and all that stuff that's in the soil. And of course, the product that they're putting out is an analyzer. It has an analysis on it. So it's a pretty complicated thing, and it's getting more complicated every year. More restrictions every year on applying those biosolids.
Mm-hmm.
Still, it's one of the things that there's a lot that Graham does and that people don't even know about, haven't got a clue. And I think the more they know about the forward thinking stuff like this that we do, the better. So, you know, maybe a little write up about that, just to say, wonder where your leaves go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you pick it up, you got to put them down somewhere.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll take some
took
pictures.
place.
I'll take some pictures in the next week or two and have them.
Yeah.
And maybe we can put a little article, a little thing together. go on social media.
Yeah, because I never even thought there was, I don't know, I just never thought of there was a whole process to it either. Just so it's cool to hear that we do something like that. And I want to see the process too, because it'd be cool.
Well, I mean, just call me. Call me someday. Yeah, we'll go down there. I'll take you down there. I'll show you the whole process.
Okay.
Okay,
That'd be
Tree-
cool to also take videos as we go, videos
Yeah.
and like just small clips and stuff like that. And then
Mhm.
attach pictures with it.
Bring your truck and take some of it home. It's
Alright.
great for plants.
Really?
Just
Oh,
wear
yeah.
gloves. Because you'll find plastic bags and stuff in it. If you have a truck full, you're gonna find a plastic bag or something in there. So just wear your gloves when you work it. But the stuff that you're buying in bags at Lowe's,
Yeah.
that is.
Oh, I want to go.
Okay, tree board field trip.
Right.
Okay, well, I think we've got a lot of great ideas. And I think, do you all feel we're on board with how we might unfold this year?
Like you said earlier, Jan, I think it's a convenient time not to be pushed to have something in January, not to be pushed to have something in March or April or even May. I think Jerry's optimistic in saying it's springtime, probably fall, but the fact that we've got some time to get coordinated and get ideas going, get a outreach going, takes a lot of pressure off and makes us more viable in the future.
There
Hey,
has to be
Jan,
something positive comes out of this year.
Sure.
Yes.
true. Jan, you mentioned you and Eric were going to work on something. I just typed Jan and Eric to take on, and then I lost it. What are you and Eric going to take on for the next?
Look up ordinances to
Yes.
see if another, what other municipalities have an ordinance about development plantings that we could not have to reinvent the.
I think that'll be easier to get approval on if we have guidelines instead of ordinances.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, if you see something come in from the top, my cat is sitting there looking over.
Yep, I saw a kitty earlier.
Yes, mine was very intrigued.
Wait a minute, go. You discovered all of the decorations that are still sitting on a dining room table, like fake pine and stuff, and I think she sees heaven. Oh dear.
If Jan's cat walks in front of the screen will go blank for several days as she passes by. It's a large critter.
She's Java the cat that I named Doorstop. Okay, yeah, stay off the keyboard, thank you. Okay. Anyway, let's brainstorm. We're meeting again in January, first Monday in January. Let's brainstorm and think along these lines of what word we can get out and what are the things we need to do to get ready to do that. How's that sound? Whoops.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Yeah, she's a honker. Any other ideas, or because we've been meeting about an hour, and I think let's
So
people
I
have.
have a question for, so do you see us can we do Instagram and Facebook and multiple outlets?
Well, that's where I was gonna ask. I guess Mayor Jerry, you have maybe a more idea than I do. I don't know how that works with like the city and stuff.
Yeah, you would just need to reach out to Mary Fawcett.
Mary.
She does she has really taken it to a different level this year because of what's going on. She's able to do stuff. The recreation, all those departments, fire department, and police department, they put the stuff to her and she puts it out there. And she'll let you know what sites we've got that we're paying for and that kind of stuff. And that would be the easiest way to do it.
So she would be the point of contact and to
Exactly.
direct me and all that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, give you your phone number. Well, maybe I ought not to put that out on public. I'll send it, or you can call City Hall and get in touch with her.
Okay. I'll probably do that tomorrow so we can get the ball started on that. And then I can post about the tree maybe the last week of December.
Yeah, the Christmas tree is beautiful right now, and it'd be a good story, the easiest story you could do right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know anything about the tree or, like it has something to do with Graham or history or just nothing. So that would be a good start.
I think once you develop something, until we get in the swing of it, I think if you can run it by me and we can run it by, while we're putting it together, when you think you've got an idea, and then see, because it'd be the city posting it. So
Right,
Right.
that's together. So I could send it to all of you guys and see how you like it, and then we can agree on it and then send it off. Sounds good. Sounds like we have a plan.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, we'll look at ordinances, and the rest of you, if you can brainstorm any other ideas, I mean, we can really make our presence known, wouldn't you think, Jerry?
I do. Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity right now to do the kind of stuff that you're doing. Us getting together and having Tree City USA Arbor Day and stuff. If we have Arbor Day, it's going to have to be something innovative that we can get out and spread out. I mean, we can do something, and we'll be right there with you. But we do know we're going to have to spread out, and we'll have to do something like, one family plant a tree. That way they'll be together by themselves, and you can follow the tree through that, as an Arbor Day project or something like that. And find 3 or 4 families that want to plant a new tree, and watch that family do the tree and do it on a Zoom
It would
or.
be cool to put videotapes of families, what tree they chose and
Right.
and planting it, and we can have that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
Idea.
mean,
Jan.
we'll do something at Arbor Day, but you're going to have to get innovative.
Yeah.
Speaking of that project, did we want to look at these? I know we only have a little bit of time left, but did we want to look at these 4 roles that you posted here and sort of hash those out as far as who's going to take what, so that as we go into January, we have a good place to start there? Or do you want to do that in January?
I think because we've come up with a role that wasn't on that list for Stephanie and Eric, I think maybe let's consider that list that was in the email of the 4 roles and think, as we've had our discussion tonight, how those would hone down, how they would be. I mean, we know once we get going with events, someone's going to have to coordinate what people are going to be at a table at what event. We know if we're going to clear a lot of material, we need to have a few people working on pulling that together. So I'd say let's look at it for another month and put it continuing this on the agenda for January. Does that sound good? Okay, does anyone have anything else to add?
The meeting is on the 4th, right? You said the 1st.
Dabba.
Oh, I'm just making sure I'm writing everything
I think
down.
that's right. The first Monday.
Yeah.
Okay, first Monday. Okay.
Yeah, unless that is a holiday, otherwise. Yeah, the 4th.
Okay.
Great.
Jan, in the future, make sure that we check with Darcy and make sure that this meeting is advertised.
That was Tim and I were coordinating for who talks to Jeff and this, and we
We both dropped
We
the ball.
created a new big
No
crack
problem.
that fell through.
You know, they're not gonna beat us up or anything, but you have to have 48 hours notification to have a legal meeting. We actually broke a little bitty rule here.
I know. We had 48 hours notification. We just forgot to tell the city.
Right. So,
And
it has to be
my
every-
apologies. Yeah.
But from now on, I've scolded you enough. So from now on, we'll make sure of that.
Well, this was, we did say when we got going that we would meet every other month unless we couldn't complete our business, in which case, and that was this meeting. But yeah, I was so busy trying to get out minutes that I just dropped the ball. But you know, for now, I think every other month is still a good idea for meeting. I will, when I do minutes, as Christina just found out, I kind of fill them out and kind of recreate the meeting, because when you're waiting 2 months for another meeting, it's helpful to have a set of minutes that really put you back where you were at the last meeting for moving forward. So,
Oh, for sure, like a refresher.
yeah.
It helps.
Okay. Any other business?
I would like to congratulate Jerry and Diane on their anniversary. Congratulations, buddy. Y'all have many more happy years, at least 2 or 3.
We've had 10.
It's been glorious, Eric.
Y'all hear? That's my wife yelling at me again.
And I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, because we're not going to be meeting until 2021, and we'll be celebrating seeing 2020 in our rear view mirror. And hopefully all the issues that went with it.
Those of 2020 is going to haunt us for a long time.
I've seen more.
So we've got a Christmas festival coming up next week, Saturday and Sunday, and then the following week, the same time, it's a drive-through or a walk downtown. So y'all come downtown and look around, and the one at the police department and fire department will mimic the Halloween festival we had, where you drove through it and looked. It'll be about the same thing. If you got kids, write a letter to Santa Claus and drop them in. If you put your return address, Santa Claus will get back to you.
Oh, that's cute.
Nice.
I want a pony.
Get you there.
I want an elephant. I want an elephant.
Heck, I want a walnut tree, but I can't get that. Okay.
Well, I just want to say one quick thing, that this really seems like a great opportunity for us to introduce ourselves to the city in a way where people might be paying attention and might be actually taking the time to look at trees and look at their city and look at the outdoors. So I'm kind of excited about where we are in this group and what we have to do and what we have to share. So.
Great. Well, I'm sorry, cat quit. My apologies. This is hard to watch. Stop doing that. Anyway.
That's our city tree.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
That's the police chief and fire chief there. But it's right on the right-hand corner at City Hall, and you can't miss it. It's lit up. Nice.
Got lights on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like a Christmas tree all year long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
My second.
I hope you're feeling better very soon, Judy.
Thank you. I hope so too.
Thank you for hanging in with us tonight.
Yeah,
Just cannot-
very good. It's always informative, very informative.
Okay, well, in that case, I'll say good night and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
Good night, all.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Be safe.
Yes.